Are you ready to work on the next block in our jelly roll series? Stay tuned. The next block that we are going to be making is one of my very, very, very favorite blocks, and it is called a wonky log cabin. Now, I am going to be showing you how to use this ruler today to make a wonky log cabin. But stay tuned, because I'm going to show you how you can make a wonky log cabin without the ruler. It can be done. So you might want to subscribe so that you don't miss the episode where I show you how to do it with just a regular ruler. But a wonky log cabin is an askew version of a log cabin. If you remember, we did the courthouse steps block, and that is a version of a log cabin block. Now here is an example of a wonky log cabin. It is not quite as big as my other blocks, but how cool is that? I mean, you know, you cannot go wrong with a wonky log cabin. Another version of it is the wonky log cabin, but I've put a frame around it. I like the look of it. Let's look at these two together. They're both really cute, but this one just has kind of maybe a more finished look to it, although this is just as cute as it can be. So let's get started and make wonky log cabins. The great thing about having this ruler is it comes with your instructions. So here it tells me on round 1, I'm to cut 2 center squares at 2.5 by 2.5, and then it tells me first light, second light, first dark, second dark. So it's giving me the process that I need to follow in order to come out with this wonky log cabin shape. And that is where part of it is dark and part of it is light. So let's follow the directions, and you see how I cut things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I think, use the print for light and solid for dark. And we will see what kind of block that gives us. All right, so I've got some prints here and some solids. Let's kind of stick with the blue family, maybe some green. I may have used all my green. Here's a green. It's not perfectly matched, but it will work. All right, so here I have these. Let's see, I don't think this is the end of this. Okay, this has already been cut, and this has already been cut as far as trimming off the selvage. So let me put these next to one another. All right, we've gotten rid of our selvage. So now I need 2 center squares at 2.5 inches. So I'm just going to cut these 2. These can be my center squares. Okay. So these 2 are going to be sewn together. Now I need a first light and a second light, which are going to be my prints. I misread. I only need 1 center square. So I'm going to go with I think I'll go with the blue. All right, so next I'm going to cut a light at 2.5 inches. So those two are going to go there. And then I need a light and a dark at 4.5 inches. So I have my center and my first light, my second light, and my first dark. And then I need a second dark. Let's see, maybe that one goes there. And my second dark, which is also going to be a solid. I think purple will look good. And this will be cut at 6.5 inches, which is exactly the length of this ruler. And that will go there. So let me take these to the sewing machine and we'll put them all together. Let me see, let me make sure that I'm doing this right. Okay, so here's my center, and then I'm going to add light to the right. Okay, and then, wait a minute, I'm going to add, so they kind of do it like this. So let's do it the same way so I can get the same effect. Okay, so here's my center, and here's my light. And then I'm going to put my light here. And then I'm going to put my dark here and my dark here. All right, so next is this. And I am pressing in between, and I am always pressing out. So when I add the fabric, I press the seam towards that fabric that I've added. All right, so here we need our dark. Okay, and then I add this dark. And here is round one. If you look, they are not using exact measurements on this particular illustration. So you don't have to cut out using exact measurements. If you want to use scraps, you just need to make sure that your scrap piece is the same or longer than the measurements that they give you for this block. But I am cutting out the individual correct measurements just because this isn't scrappy. So now here's my center block. Always remember where your center block is. That's important. And here's my ruler, and it says round 1A. So I am going to put my block in that square right here, and I'm going to cut on the outside edge. And if you save scraps, here you go. Now I'm going to flip this the other way. I'm going to flip my ruler, and this says round 1B. And a second check for you is, here is a line going here and here that show you what the inside of your block should look like before you start trimming the outside. Here we have the first iteration of our wonky log cabin. Now for round 2, we are going to put this back the way that it was, and I am going to add the first light. Okay, so let me make sure I am on the right side. First light, second light. So I'm going to add a 5-inch strip here. And this is something similar. So let me measure. So that's going to go here. And then I'm going to add another light strip at 7 inches, which is longer than my ruler. So let me cut off this selvage. And I'm going to break the cardinal rule of using the same ruler and everything for the same quilt. You know me, I'm a rule breaker, so I'm going to use this ruler. Measure 7 inches. Okay, and that is going to go there. Now I need a 7-inch dark, which is going to be a solid. Let's pull this guy out. And that is going to go here. And then I need a 9-inch dark. And we'll do a green. Not loving that green next to that. How about this? Nope, that's the same color. That's why that one would match. I am picking from my pile. How about let's do a blue? Does this? Yep. Okay, we'll do this one. And this is going to be 9 inches. Okay, so first I add my light. I'll add my next light. Now I will add my dark, and then I will add the last dark. Okay, so here I have round 2 of my wonky log cabin. Now, if everything isn't perfect on the outside, so like this seam, this fabric doesn't go quite far enough, it doesn't matter because we're going to be trimming it. So don't fret over that kind of thing. All right, got to keep track of your middle square. Now we're on round 2. So I will line up my middle square on round 2A, and then I'm going to cut my block. I'm going to flip my ruler for 2B. I'm going to flip my block for 2B, and once again, it shows me, whoops, the outline where my block should be. And here I have round 2 of my wonky log cabin. So I have one more round to go, round 3. I need my first light, and I'm going to put it here. And I think I'm going to, let's see, what am I gonna do? Oh, I've got polka dots. Okay, I'll use this polka dot. I just threw something on the floor. All right, so first is 7.5. And if you're thinking, why are the measurements getting smaller when your block is getting bigger? It's because we're cutting it down. So there's 7.5. Next I need 9.5. And I'm looking for something blue. This is, all right, this is blue. Let me trim this. Move these up so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so this is going to be 9.5. That's going to go there. Then I will need a dark 9.5. And I think, okay, this is a different green, so I'm going to use this. Let's see if it's long enough. I think it is. Oh yeah. So this is going to be 9.5. And then my last dark is 11.5. And there we go. It's different. And that's okay. Let's sew the last round together. Okay, add this light. And now I'm going to add my dark. I'm going to add this last strip. And here is our block. Now we have one more trim, and we will use this center square 3. And if you look, I found that there's really one way that this can be done, and it shows, let's see, so if I turn this like this, okay, then center square 3 works. So what I did was just rotated this block or this ruler until I would get a good edge or a good corner on each cut. So here you can see you're not going to get all the way over. So I just kept turning the block around until I got a good corner on each one. And see here, I'm not. So I think this one is going to be the one. Okay. And now I'm going to cut all the way around. And let me pull these off because I need to turn this guy around. Okay. And there is my Wonky log cabin block. At some point, I am going to have to put either more strips around it or a frame around it because this is not quite large enough for the project that I'm working on, which is my sampler. So here you can see where I took the Wonky log cabin and then put a frame around it. So it's just up to you. If you wanted to just do a whole quilt of the Wonky log cabin like this, it would look great. If you want to frame them, that's an option too. So far in this series, we have done a jelly roll race quilt, we have done a courthouse steps block, we have done a rail fence block, and now we've done a Wonky log cabin. Next, we are going to be doing something really fun we are going to be using hexagons. Now, don't be scared, because when I hear the word hexie or hexagon, I think of teeny tiny little bitty blocks that are hand sewn. Those are not the kind of hexagons we're going to be making. We're going to be using our strips, and we'll put them together and it won't even be hard. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss it. I am going to be going to Ireland in September. We are getting close to that deadline to make a decision as to whether or not you can come on the trip of a lifetime with me. I'll put a link in the description below, and if you are interested in seeing the beautiful scenery in Ireland, going to the Titanic Museum, shopping, and just enjoying all that Ireland has to offer, check it out. If you have any questions that aren't answered in the link, send me an email. The 3 Quilt Amigas are having a retreat in Hamilton, Missouri at the end of April. We would love to have you come with us and have a great time. We're going to have prizes, good food, good company, and we're going to get done projects that we've been working on. There will be a link in the description below. Again, the 3 Quilt Amigas are myself from April's Craft Room, Di from Sister Chicks Quilting, and Tracy from the Sewing Channel. When the 3 of us get together, you just never know what might happen. If you have any questions that aren't answered with the link information, email me at aprilscraftroom.com. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, eat some chocolate, and be kind to everyone. Until next time, bye. Wow. Blame it on the time change. I'm gonna blame everything on the time change.